Jeff.
Brent.
Episode 17.
Uh-huh. This is like...
I say this every
stretch.
week at this point. Yeah, we say this at every week. We're 5 episodes left after this one.
Yeah.
That's it.
But this time it's not just 5 episodes left. It's 5 episodes left. Period. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah. Yes, I need us to get through this so I can go press play on the next episode. Like I'm in that spot with this show right now. Like
I feel like if I didn't use a different setup for my reaction videos, I would just literally be like, and next. I just want to get up and set everything up after we finish our thing. That's all.
Here's the thing, like, I don't know at this point. Is it just because like we're so close to the end? You know, like you see the end and you just want to get across the finish line. Like, I feel that way, but I also feel like I need to know where we go after this.
I think this is the point we're at every episode 17 through this, pretty much, is the whole like, we gotta go. And so I think it's a little bit of both. Like, there's always that feeling of accomplishment when we get to the wrap-up episode, right? It's just like, oh, this is cool, this is fun, we made it. But then there's also just that drive, because I think that they've done such a masterful job closing out the second, third, and fourth seasons. First season kind of happened. It's we're at the end.
Yeah. I see what you're saying on that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But 2, 3, and 4 have just been like, holy crud.
And 5 is turning into that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's look, if you're gonna screw around with the show, episodes like 3 to 10 are the ones to screw around with, and then nail everything else. You know, so with that, Jeff, let's delay no longer. Hey, you guys out there, you're getting ready to watch Jeff and I record an audio podcast. This is the behind the scenes. This is how we do it. And you guys are here along for the ride. Frankly, we always say this is the better show about the show. While you guys are here, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this video. That helps out. This helps get the word out. And if you want to catch more content, more stuff, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Babylon5 First. That is the
number 5 and the word first.
There you go. And you guys can do that. Please remember, in your comments, no spoilers. We're so close. Let's not spoil it. Jeff and I have a Herculean effort to stay spoiler free for the last 2 years. We're almost there, Jeff.
It's going to take so much work to unmute all of the accounts across social media that we've had to mute to stay away from spoilers.
I don't understand why you would unmute them at this point. I'm joking. I'm joking. Go ahead, Jeff. Let's hit that magic button.
At least I should have buffed him just once.
Humans form communities.
And from that diversity comes a strength.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy!
The year is 2024.
The name of the podcast, Babylon 5.
For the first time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I am the one who was.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I am the one who will be.
We're watching Babylon 5 for the first time for you, the one who is.
Jeff and I are 2 veteran Star Trek podcasters that are searching for important messages, mirrors to society, hope that we're going to have a better future, deep moral learnings and teachings, those sorts of things we used to look for in Star Trek. We're now looking for those types of things here in Babylon 5, but we're looking for how Babylon 5 is also doing it in its own unique way.
Things we like to call Babylon 5 messages. That's what we're looking for. What we're not looking for are Star Trek references, because they can be abound for us in any sci-fi that we watch, because you and I, we've watched a lot of Star Trek in our day. So to keep us talking about Babylon 5 and maybe other really cool sci-fi properties as well, we play the rule of 3. This is a game that limits us to no more than 3 references to Star Trek per episode.
That's it. 3. 1, 2, 3. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And if we make one of those references, Jeff, the folks will hear
one of their favorite sounds.
Gives me warm, fuzzy tinglies every time I hear it, Jeff. Oh, yes. Now, listen, along with our rule of 3, there is another game that we like to play at the end of the show where we try to guess what next week's episode is going to be about based on title alone. Well, this is the spot where we play a third game. Oh, messed you up. Let me try that again, Jeff. Hey, listen, you guys get the behind the scenes. This is where everything gets messed up. Jeff thought that I was pausing to get the cue. I was pausing to take a breath.
Not allowed to do that. We don't have time for breathing here. Come on.
Right. Well, I just took a drink and like my mouth was like still like half full of drink. I was like, all right. Anyway, let's hear. Well, this is the spot of the show where we play part 2 to that game. We title this game
Time to Pay the Piper.
And this is where we revisit our prediction from last week to see how close we were. Jeff, what did you say today's episode, Movements of Fire and Shadow, was going to be about?
The episode that we, the viewer, get the dark minions revealed to us, likely through Londo, and we near the beginning of the end. Huge war and the beginnings of the dissolution of the Interstellar Alliance.
Not quite.
Mm-mm.
Not quite. The dissolution of the Interstellar Alliance. I mean, everybody's kind of going off like, I don't know if this is a good Southern phrase. I don't know. I don't know if this hits family friendly or not. We have a phrase called half cocked.
Oh.
Everyone's just going off. I think it's a chicken reference more than anything. If it's not, I'm going to go with it. It's a chicken reference.
That works.
Just everybody's kind of getting crazy and doing their own stuff, but no Drock, no minions, nothing along those lines. So 40%?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Fair enough.
About you?
Basically I said the same thing. Yeah. I said the war is raging on, the alliance is broken, the Drock are coming out into the open, and Londo finds out all about them.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I don't know, 40%.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good. Sounds good to me, Jeff. Well, that was yours and mine's guess. So there's what we guessed, but then there's what actually happened. And I know the rule sometimes is if it doesn't go according to the way we predicted, then we didn't like it. So Jeff, as we start to look at how much we didn't like this episode, why don't you remind folks now just how wrong JMS was with how he actually wrote this show?
Like I'm really set up for a fall on that one.
For the record, I'm being incredibly facetious. This was an amazing episode, and yeah, go Jeff.
Hey, like /S. Okay. Captain, they're blowing up the jump gates. Yeah, like that is seriously actually happening. The Centauri are, as we later learn, sending cruisers that apparently don't have any people on them to open jump gates inside of jump gates. It's unbelievable and totally against the agreed upon rules of civilized warfare. Sheridan is telling a brand new addition to the crew, Captain Lockley is her name. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Yeah, we know who this person is. Yeah, so Sheridan tells her all about this and that he's given the order for White Stars to fire on Centauri ships that are engaged in combat.
Hey,
That's
Jeff, I'm sorry. Just out of curiosity, this Captain Lockley person, did you pick up on anything between her and Sheridan?
Well, tension?
You think there's any history there between the two of them at all?
I didn't get that at all. There's zero chemistry between them in any way.
Just wanted to check.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing.
Got some thoughts there, actually, but I don't know if we'll get to them in the conversation. But
sorry, I interrupted your recap.
Totally
Please go.
It's a very good point. So we're talking about war crimes right now. Veer tells Franklin and Lita that the Drazie aren't returning our dead bodies to us. The Centauri, they've been playing ball. They've been returning all the dead bodies from everybody else to their appropriate worlds. He asked them to go to the Drazie homeworld to see what's up, and holy Londo Malari, do they stumble onto some stuff. Turns out the Drazie aren't giving the bodies back because there ain't no bodies. Nope, just some leftover shadow tech that Lita recognizes that lets them remotely control ships. This explains a mystery Sheridan's been trying to get to the bottom of. What is the Centauri strategy here? The Centauri have been out of character with their tactics. Basically, they've got an offense and a defense. Offense randomly attacks ships, while the defense is protecting Centauri bases and other important locations. And now we know why. Shadow remote controls for the attacks, Centauri normal ships for the defense. Now, wouldn't it be great if this were the end of the war crimes section of the recap? Well, it is not. The Drazie are disgusted with the human response or non-response to the Centauri, and they want to go right to the heart of the Republic, Centauri Prime. And they convince the Narns to join in. They're going to blast the whole thing, civilians and all. Discovering it a little late, Sheridan gets a fleet of White Stars, and the chase is on. But no Delenn and no Lanier in the little fleet to help. Seeing that they need more White Stars and more powerful ones because apparently the Centauri are putting up more of a fight than the Shadows did, well, Sheridan asked Delenn to ask the Grey Council to partner with Earth to develop a destroyer-class White Star. Which sounds pretty cool, and it totally makes me wonder where Ivanova and her new badass ship has been through all of this. But they're on the way to the Grey Council to pitch the idea, and they get intercepted in hyperspace. A couple Centauri ships bear down on them, and blow them up. But not all the way up, only mostly blowed up. Lanier and Delenn are alive, stranded in hyperspace, but things don't look good for them. As the rogue attack force approaches Centauri Prime, Londo and G'Kar have been sitting in their prison cell. As they banter, and Londo goes to sleep, a bright light knocks them both out. Londo's abducted, and we see those alien Stribe-looking guys again. I think there must clearly be dark minions as well. They do an abduction-style surgery on Londo and then plop him back in his cell. Totally oblivious. It's kind of a bad dream. Then, thanks to a disgusting throw-up by G'Kar, Londo gets out of the cell and the Regent comes to meet with him. And he's full of all kinds of good news. Let's see. Regent guy will be dead in the morning, and he's looking forward to that. They have told him a lot of things. They will reveal themselves to Londo soon enough. You know, a lot of scary, cryptic stuff that we, the viewer, kind of understand, but honestly just freaks Londo out. Then he drops one last piece before staring peacefully at the sky and the oncoming onslaught from the Drazie and the Narn. You see, he ordered the Defense Force to leave the planet, and he turned off the planetary defense systems. If Sheridan and his fleet don't get there soon, it's going to be a complete bloodbath. Now, Brent, I gotta know, how did you first react to movements of fire and shadow?
No. You are not leaving that right there.
Yeah, that's where the episode ends.
That is not where the episode ended.
Oh yeah, it's totally where it just stops. Pew, pew, pew.
No. Yes, that's the part you miss. It's not if Sheridan and them don't get there, it's going to be a bloodbath. No. It is crap coming out of the weapons ports of these ships that are now in orbit of Centauri Prime.
It is totally Knights of the Old Republic firing on Terrace. And a matter of fact, when I was taking notes on this, my daughter was watching it with me and she said, "Dad, this is like your video game." Yeah, look, you pay more attention to my video games than you do this show.
I can't do more than one video game. I'm still working through Mass Effect right now, Jeff.
It's just one scene. You don't got it. You don't got it.
Fair enough. Okay. You know, Jeff, we have talked on this show before, and maybe not extensively, but definitely more than once, about the idea of subverting expectations.
Yep.
And you know, that's a cool storytelling device to go in and subvert people's expectations, to set them up for something and then do something completely different. It's fun, it's edgy, it's all those sorts of things. And it is something that if done too often is annoying and obnoxious and entirely uninteresting, because that's not the way good storytelling often works. It becomes less interesting the more it happens. It
becomes the expectation to subvert the expectation, so you're not actually subverting anymore.
Exactly. Some things need to be done just sparingly, not all the time. This is an episode that has set up our expectations and is fulfilling them one by one. And it's so good. Here's my exact note. Holy cow, this is good TV. So good. This is exactly what I've wanted coming out of the last 2 episodes, even if I didn't get the prediction exactly right. Go figure. It just keeps getting better, and this shows no signs of slowing down, especially with the last shot of the episode that you somehow managed to leave out of your recap. My gosh. During the course of this episode, just as the crew went through a journey of discovery, I also went on that journey with them. Phenomenal. It's so good when you're along for the ride with the crew. From thinking that the Centauri ministers are evil and full of it, and you guys sort of floated this idea that came to fruition in this episode of, no, they're actually really innocent. Like they really are just in a defensive posture. As schmarmy as they seem, they're actually innocent in all of this. They have set things up in this episode, or I'm sorry, they have set things up for the last couple of seasons that are now coming to fruition. And it looks like, Jeff, despite what I have predicted over the last couple of weeks, we are indeed on the path toward the future of what we saw in War Without End. Of of Centauri burning, of Londo having the keeper on his shoulder. That looks like that's about ready to come to pass. Londo's going to be emperor. I don't know where G'Kar loses his eye again, but we know the one eye is gone. Vir is nastier and snarkier as all of this happens. So while I predicted otherwise, I'm not mad about it at all, because you did better than what I actually predicted. It's good TV. How about you, Jeff?
Here we go, right? Like, this is it. This is season 3. This is season 4. Those big ramp up moments all over again. I was totally engaged and locked in every single step of the episode. Mm-hmm. There's a thing that Babylon 5 does, and we've talked about this. Like this, we're so many episodes in. We've talked about all of the things. We just get to reference what we talked about before. But like, what do they call these big episodes? The Wham episodes?
Yeah, the Wham episodes, yeah.
So a lot of these Wham episodes, like, they take a 2-hour cinematic film, pack it into 44 minutes, and make it feel like it's half an hour.
Yeah.
It's so, like, this episode came to an end, and the way it ended, like, it just stopped.
Yeah.
Like, this reminds me of War Without End, where in part 1, you're like, okay, they're going to start. Oh, the credits? Oh, we're at the end. Mm-hmm. This builds up, and they start blasting, and credits?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How? We're only what, 20 minutes? Oh my God. No, it's really done.
Yeah. You really could have, if you threw a part 1 at the beginning of this episode, like on the title of this episode, something part 1 or part 2 or whatever. This is like where it ended here is exactly where you would expect a 2-part or a multi-part arc to end in an episode.
This is a mid-season finale, right? Like, this is the whole, like,
Joe, this could be a season finale.
Yeah.
Knowing you're coming back the next season, right? Like, this is the season finale cliffhanger. Like, this is Riker standing on the bridge, looking at Locutus going, Mr. Worf, fire. And you see Worf's finger coming down on the button before it hits it. That's what it is. Yeah.
100%.
Only we don't have to wait all summer.
Yeah, I love the pacing. I loved the big stuff. I mean, it's big stuff all over the place. Nothing in this episode was minor.
Right.
It's fantastic. I loved it. When they showed the Drazie and the Narn ships blasting away at Centauri Prime, I felt that centuries of oppressive Centauri rule when they were that big dominant race.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, like they were getting that release, they had to sit mostly on the sidelines during the Centauri Narn war. And in that moment, they came in the Narn, all that built up angst, back in season 4, when they're like, Jakar, take command. Let's go and get them. Let's shut these guys down. He's like, no, that's not the answer. We're better than that. Now they're like, no, we're not. We're going to get that petty revenge, and it's going to feel good. Felt like it was a long time coming, for the Drazie and the Narn. Yeah, this was a great episode. This was fantastic.
So a couple of little pieces to this, especially in the opening. We see at the beginning a lot of people are taking out their frustration on Centauri. They're being murdered because this starts that voiceover by Lockley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whom hasn't been around for the last 8 episodes. Like forgot she was actually a part of the cast.
Yeah.
So,
like she literally started talking. I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me when a show jettisons a cast member, especially like right before the final season, and they feel the need to replace that cast member with somebody new. Like you can just let that person go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this case, you can't promote Sheridan to president, leave Ivanova, and have anyone else step in to be the captain of Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Because Corwin's not going to do it.
Mm-mm.
And there's, Garibaldi's not doing it, and Zach's not doing it. So I get it. You have to bring that person in. We could literally never see Lockley at all outside of the first episode, and just know that the captain is doing what they're like. They could become a new background character.
Yeah. Every now and again, 4 or 5 times over the whole season, just be like, oh, we'll check in with captain. Oh, here's the captain, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We happen to go up to CNC.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same level as Corwin, frankly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it'd be fine. And that's that. Listen, Tracy Scoggins, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Fantastic person. I'm sure. Great actress. All the accolades that go along with that. I got to imagine it is super tough as an actor to come in to an established show knowing you're there for 1 year because you're about to get canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And you're having to fill in these shoes. And I don't know, maybe that's actually really exciting as an actor.
It could be.
Like I don't know. I'm not in those shoes. Anyway, get back to what I was saying. Centauri are getting killed. I will reference everybody back to the conversation I had about this last week. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to ask this question, Jeff. Why are there any Centauri on Babylon 5 right now?
For real.
Something like this happens. You withdraw from the alliance. Bad stuff's happening. You know what your government does? You issue a statement to all of your civilians living in that country that you're now about to be having issues with. Y'all need to get out.
Yep.
You got 2 weeks because after that, we can't come get you. You need to get out.
Whole infrastructure, right, to make that happen. And usually, a lot of times, the hosting company for the company, the hosting country, will actually oftentimes help with that. Hey, this is coming. Let's get your people through the embassy and get them out of here. Yep. Let's do that. And
because we don't want your people dying because our people are going to go crazy over this. Like, we don't want that, But yeah, they should have recalled all their citizens and gotten them out. Like, this is whatever. I'll also say Sheridan is walking around at 2:00 in the morning handling all this business. And he is still perfectly coiffed.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, I don't look that good at 2:00 in the morning. Jeff, I don't look that good at 2:00 in the afternoon, to be frank with you. Like, heaven.
I don't have much hair, but like you get me at the end of the day, I'm not looking Sheridan level. That's for sure.
Bruce Boxleitner's got it going on, man.
He's got that Vidal Sassoon mousse in there. It's like long hold or whatever. Right, yeah.
Right. Here's a question. Very early on in the episode, Sheridan is in his quarters having a conversation with Delenn, and he's like, I got to ask you to go back to Minbar and talk to this great council. And he's like, I need to ask you to do this thing that I don't really want to ask you to do. And she's like, hey, listen, if it's about those little things you got for me to wear, I'm not saying no. I just think they look silly. And he's like, no, that's Jeff.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, this is a family-friendly show.
Yep, of course. Of course.
As much as you can say, what do you think he got her to wear?
Tassels.
1,000% what I thought too.
So you put these on and then you move like this, and it's like you're an old airplane. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Kids, ask your parents. They hang off the side of your bike handles.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yes.
But it was interesting, that whole conversation around White Stars, because at first, my thought was, hey, we've seen a lot of these, a good chunk of them get blown up. It makes sense that they might need more, but that whole need for a bigger one, a destroyer class one, had two thoughts. One, what I kind of covered in the recap, these are more trouble for you than the shadow ships were. That seems a little weird. And the second thing, took me back to the Rush song. Here I go. It's been a while since I've been able to pull a Rush song in, but Rush song off their Power Windows record called The Manhattan Project. In fact, a year ago, they made a movie about this Rush song called Oppenheimer. Because actually, it's not about the Rush song, but I like to pretend it is. It's the same story, right? It's the story of the atomic bomb, and it talks about in the Rush song, there's a line, build the best big stick to turn the winning trick. And it's just this, starts out in the earliest days of mankind, where you start with a club, and then you get a rock, and then you sharpen the rock, and then it grows and grows till you get these weapons of intense, massive killing destruction.
Right.
And Sheridan, for all he professes, let's talk, let's come together, let's be better, even Sheridan wants a bigger stick.
Well, I can speak softly, but I still need the big stick.
Yeah, okay, Teddy. I mean, you do, but do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So, Veer comes to Lita and to Franklin about this request of, hey, they're not delivering our bodies back. I've never thought about that as a wartime thing. That there's this sort of, I guess, just, hey, we're going to go to war, but, I'm going to help you get your bodies back. I remember when I was living in South Korea a bunch of years ago, it was South Korea's version of the movie Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Not the same story at all, but it was that level of it's hyper realistic. It's very long. It's very epic, shows the drudges of war kind of a thing. The name of the movie was called Taeguki. Taeguki. I highly, highly recommend this film. It's phenomenal. The tale about two brothers who get conscripted into the war, and one who learns that if he becomes a war hero, he can send his brother home. And so he goes on all these high-risk antics to try to become a war hero to send his brother home.
Okay.
Right? But that story opens and kind of closes around revisiting a battlefield and finding the remains of various soldiers who had never been returned home. So good movie, relates to that only in this particular way. So they're there talking, and Franklin's like, okay, fine, we can go talk to him. We can do this. And Lita's like, I got all this stuff I need to do. And I'm just sitting here thinking, she came so prepared that her bank account card was in her bra.
Yeah.
Just, I'm walking in, I'm getting money. I'm going to stick it right here because this time's coming. And she sat there and bided her time until she could put that sucker out.
She played it perfect. And Veer walked right into it. All right, so we're good. And she's like, oh, no, yeah. we're not. We're not good. And the cojones on her, right? Just, to be ready and just be like, oh, $500,000.
Yeah.
Boom.
But Veer's response to that was, I could do 400,000, but 5? I'm like, dude, at that point, I could do 100, but 5, that I could understand. you already could do 4, but 5 is
Yeah.
going to be an issue. Like,
Yeah.
come on, dude. Come on.
That's arguing over like, I can't do $5,000 for, it's ridiculous. How about $49.95? Like, I got that.
Right.
Go borrow $5.
Right.
Do it. Come on, man.
We'll get you. It'll be fine.
I really related with Franklin though. I like this scene a lot because Franklin was me in this of just like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like what is, and Veer did a great job explaining. I thought that made a ton of sense.
Yeah. Errand of mercy. Can we just say this? For all the crap we have given Franklin over the course of this show, Franklin actually has been a really good dude for a while now.
Well, really ever since Walkabout Part 2, which should have been
end
the
of
only
season 3,
version, which was
right.
Shadow Dancing, which should have been the only episode that touched that. But
But I mean, Jeff, like truly through season 4 and kind of up until now, like Franklin's just sort of been there, or he's been very peripheral. I know he had that little stuff with Marcus where he'd go out and they'd kind of do the buddy cop thing for a while, but it was like showing Franklin like coming to get Veer and being the guy who takes him away. Franklin's kind of I like this new Franklin, and I'm glad that it started with Walkabout Part 2.
yeah, which should have been the only Walkabout. Yeah. But no, he was great. And even in this episode, I mean, they used him. He was the butt of some jokes, but it's because he was the man in the situation, right? Like when they get to the Drazie homeworld, why don't you just ask somebody for directions? Really? We're gonna do that joke? But still.
Although I got to tell you, that is a stereotype that I 1000% fulfill.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I
Right.
1000% fulfill that stereotype. Like I'll own it. That is me. I'm like, we'll pull over and get some directions here. Just except I'm pretty sure it's right over there. Come
Yeah.
on,
I got this.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
We're so close.
Yeah.
I liked it when they got to the Drazie homeworld, though. I think they did a better job with it than they did when Garibaldi was on there. Like it was just kind of cool. It's like, oh, look, they're reusing the same sets. That's pretty cool. But the way they misted them, you know, like it just looked gross and hot and crowded. I thought they did a really good job creating the environment this time around.
1000% agree. I would like to read you my exact note.
Okay.
It's the same hotel Garibaldi stayed at, AKA we aren't building a new set. We're just reusing the old one.
Yeah.
But when they got out there, I don't think it was just the same hotel they stayed at with Garibaldi. They had the same room. Yeah.
Yeah. And that room must have some sort of like, I don't know, beacon or whatever on for, hey, attack here. Here's the balcony. Jump here.
It's where the hotel puts its foreign guests, foreign dignitaries. Let's extend this balcony out so it has a real nice landing pad for folks. And
make it real convenient. Let's make this work.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say let's talk about this storyline while we're here. Between Lita and Franklin, they go out, they get the guy, and they're like, "Tell us what you did with all the bodies." And then Lita starts going, "You didn't," and they're not telling us what's going on, and what's going on, and all of a sudden, and it all comes down to the idea: the ships that have been attacking have been empty.
Yeah.
They've been drone controlled using ancient shadow weapons. Which, did you hear the shadow screach?
Yeah.
Out of the little football looking
cool.
thing. What do you think about that, Jeff? Like,
that's wild. They open the door, right? So they get the doctor. He happens to hold a gun to his back the whole way, and no one, even though the streets are crowded, no one seems to care. But they open that door, and they have that moment where we just see them and their reaction. We don't see what they're seeing. And I was like, there's probably just a sea of these Drock and other aliens there. And they're like, oh my God. But no, it was these weird blobs, you know? And then they're like, no, we've got this. I'm just like, oh my God. It brings up so much. I think, like the shadow fighter ships, the little blobby fighter ships that we saw back in season 4. It all makes so much sense now. You know, they probably had these little remote control things on them. And how terrifying.
Yeah. And it really harkened back, I thought, to, I mean, Jeff, it's this time of year. There's a great football reference, which I love that they're making football references in the future still.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Talking about they're running, it's like they have two different teams running. There's an offense and a defensive team running. which I thought was a real great way to separate those two concepts to, again, go back to, as schmarmy as the defense minister seems, he's telling the truth that as far as he's concerned, it's all defense.
Well, and let's ride this. Let's ride this American football metaphor. So you've got this defense minister who is your defensive coordinator.
Yep.
You've got the minions and servants that are, maybe there's a dude or maybe they're together. They're your offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Regent's the head coach, and he doesn't let the OC and DC talk. They totally separate offices on different ends of the locker room. They don't talk. They don't even know they're there. And he's keeping all the plays going, right?
Yeah. Let me translate for the folks out there who aren't sports folks.
It's generous of you. It's good.
Yes. You have the defensive minister. He's the sports ball. And then you have the Drock and the minions and stuff. And he's the sports ball. And then there's the regent, who's the head sports ball. And he doesn't let the sports ball talk to the sports ball.
Exactly.
Everybody on the same page?
I think we got it now.
Good.
It's well done. Good translation.
Good. For the record, folks, I'm not making fun of anybody out there. That is a long time podcasting joke from many podcasts ago for me. So.
But also, to back up a little bit, I got to point out what a mess. So I talked about Lita and her cojones. Now I got to talk about her just being a straight up badass.
Yeah.
So they're in that hotel room, right? And they get jumped, and she just looks at dude. She's like, oh, and he shoots himself in the face. I don't know that I remember this.
I was so glad, Jeff. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was so glad that she didn't just look at him and go, pain.
Were you glad?
Do you remember when they used to have to do that? Pain.
She did, and she did that too.
That's what she did, but she didn't say it. She just used her eyes and was like, yes, that's how you do it.
She is so next level now at this point, and it's going to be like, it's wild. Because if I remember right, I think it was in Phoenix Rising, you had Byron on one side and Bester and Sheridan on the other side. And dude was like, I'm going to get you. And Byron and his tragedy of telepaths all joined to get that guy not to shoot himself, but to stand down. Lita, on her own, in a fraction of the time, got a dude to shoot himself. Like, I don't know what's coming for her, but dude, wow.
Dude, Lita is turning into... potentially, Jeff, the biggest villain of Babylon 5 here in the closing chapters.
Dark Phoenix.
The most dangerous villain. Like, the shadows are... I almost kind of want to see Lita versus the shadows. Like, Vorlon souped up telepath lady. Let's go.
Yeah. Put them together, see what happens.
Yeah. Especially now that her, like, it almost seems like she's coming into her powers.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you remember when she first went up against the Vorlons, like, she was doing things. She was pretty powerful, but then she starts bleeding from the nose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she'd even be bleeding from the nose at this point.
No.
You know?
And I think part of it's acceptance, right? I think she had to break through her conditioning, from Psychor and everything, and let that go. And God, I hate I'm going to say this, but like, and I'm going to stand by what I said, I think it was last week or the week before, that we didn't really need Byron to get us here. Like, they've been so inconsistent with her character, everything would be fine. But also, the Byron storyline helps create that mechanism where she broke her conditioning.
I have no problems with the Byron storyline for a 3-episode arc.
Tops.
You know what I mean? Like 3 episodes and it's done, and then focus on this. And don't make it the main plot line. Keep it a B plot at the time.
Yeah, over on the side, it's happening. And Lita has these questions, and he elevates her, and then they die. Great. Okay, let's move on and let Lita go do her stuff.
Yep. I mean, it's you're doing to Lita what Jason Ironheart did for Talia.
Mm-hmm.
What Jason Ironheart, as we remember, was supposed to do for Lita. Because it was supposed to be Lita the whole time. It's kind of like, I mean... Well, we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. Anyway, yeah. Lita's badass, dude. I mean,
big time. So they're talking about going to Sheridan and his whole piece. So he's really trying to get down to the strategy we were just talking about. They uncovered, but at the time they don't get it. I was confused in that it was just over a season ago that they defeated the Shadows. And from the later half of the second season up through the middle of the fourth season, this was the exact strategy that the Shadows used. Stay in the back. Stay in the back. Yep. Let the throw mud so that the League Worlds at the time fight each other. Like, it's the exact same thing. And and in a way I felt sorry for Sheridan, I guess, that like, how does he not see this? It just happened, and it's the exact same thing, as he's so blinded by his dream of the Alliance that he can't see what's right in front of his face.
And you would think that Sheridan, above all, would know the tactics of the Shadows and the Vorlons, because he spent all that time with Lorien and discussing the history of what all that looked like. Like, he would be able to recognize it for what it is when he sees it.
And beyond that, he saw that there was stuff going on with Centauri in the somewhat near future. He was there, and he didn't know all the details,
right?
But he knew there was stuff going on with them. So intimate knowledge of the Shadows and how they work and their strategy, a little bit of future knowledge that, hey, there's going to be weird stuff going on with the Centauri. But here in the moment, he's like, hey, warmongering Drazie, who's wearing your Napoleonic general's outfit. Like, what do you think the strategy is here? What do you think?
That's a fair point, Jeff. Hadn't thought about that yet. That's a fair point.
Just bothered me a little bit, but
yeah,
that whole scene with the Brakiri, Natok, I think his name was, the Narn.
Not Natoth.
Natok.
Yeah.
Wonder if they're related. No, that's right. They picked their name, so that means they probably came from the same belief system.
There you go.
But like, Natok seemed pretty reasonable at first in the whole thing, but the Drazie general and that Brakiri guy, like, my note here is they are just jingoistic shut-ins that kind of deserve what's happening to them.
Well, I mean, I said right here, there's no way that the Drazie, Brakiri, and Narn are going to follow Sheridan's orders. They're definitely, he's going to say, there's no strike. And they're like, yeah, okay. They're going to go strike. And it's exactly what they did.
It's a horse I've beaten to death and will continue to, but it's, again, just looking at the Alliance. And I think it strengthens your thing last week with the Articles of Confederation in the United States. But it's like, what leverage do you even have? Sheridan, they gave him the technology. That was how you lured him in.
Yeah.
What do you got? There's no reason for them to stick around at this point.
So Delenn has to go off to Minbar to try to convince the Great Council to do this thing. Her and Lanier and a bunch of other people on a White Star go get in a little scuffle when they're just 2 mere jumps away from being at Minbar. And somehow, out of the entire scuffle, only Lanier and Delenn survive.
Yeah, it seems to be it. Standing in the place where Ivanova got rocked, right? Yeah. Standing in that same spot, they are okay. Different impact, but still.
Mm-hmm. Delenn said, though, she was talking to Sheridan, she's like, "I will be there in 48 hours your time." And here's my question. Are hours different on the White Star than they are on Babylon 5? Like, do we not all sort of keep the same clock? Like, whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they bring it up a lot. We'll be there in 7 standard minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that will be in 8 standard hours. It's like, if they're standard, you don't have to say standard.
Yeah.
It's like here in the United States, we have these really delicious nuts. We call them Brazil nuts. You know where I'm going, right? In Brazil, they're just nuts.
Exactly.
You don't have to say the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, Delenn and Lanier are in trouble, and we haven't gotten to Minbar just yet.
I kept waiting for Lanier to recommend entering a meditative state to reduce the amount, because that's the thing. They beat that horse to death.
Yes,
and
they did.
No callback here.
Yes, they did. Now with that, Sheridan jumps into a White Star, and he heads out himself because, yeah.
Well, he's the only one that can go stop the Drazie and Narn. So 30%, I think it was Garibaldi said, 30% of the Drazie and Narn fleets just took off. And they do the math, and Sheridan's the only one that can do it. Sheridan, I'm really struck by just, and I don't know if it's because of his time with Lorien or just who he is or whatever, but he's at a different place than the entire rest of the galaxy.
Right.
Like, he believes they can fight a clean war, and do things right and avoid fighting, compromise, talk, do those things. And everybody else is just like, no, we got big guns and we're going to go shoot those guns. Like, why wouldn't we do that? So he's got to take off and do it. But my other thought outside of Sheridan was, where'd the Drazie and Narn get all these ships? Where'd the Centauri get all these ships? Aren't we on the back end of a massive intergalactic conflict, yet seems like everybody's fine?
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't where I thought you were going to go with that whole conversation. I kept waiting for it, because what I noticed was Garibaldi's like, yeah, this is happening 30% of fleet. Oh, by the way, John, you need to know something.
Oh,
Delen's ship is missing. Like, no, he does not need to know that right now in that moment. That is
not
like
at all.
the worst thing you can tell him right now.
Or you lead with that, right? You don't slide that in. Hey, here's some important news. Oh, by the way,
your wife is missing on a mission you sent her out on.
Yeah, you might not care, but just heads up. It's like, oh, also, you sent her with a guy that has got some issues going on and stuff. But I mean, they're missing. I doubt there's anything weird going on, but just, heads up.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you, Jeff. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about Londo and G'Kar?
Yeah.
All right,
Londo's...
so Londo's in prison willingly. I didn't realize he was there willingly last week. So yeah, that's neat. I guess.
Yeah. Good friendship, good support.
Yeah.
And he's got a plan, Brent. He's got a plan.
My people will rise up when they find out their prime minister are in prison without. And G'Kar's like, oh yeah? How long is that going to take? 3 days. There's no more than 3 days. G'Kar's like, okay.
At one point, he's literally just like, oh, sorry. I thought I heard an uprising happening out there.
I do like how G'Kar, though, like, he moved from the bed over to like the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like he still let Londo kind of have the nice thing,
It takes shifts, right? They're like,
right.
we'll share this really comfortable slab.
Right.
While we sit on this other less comfortable looking slab.
Mm-hmm. And so Londo gets abducted by aliens. And you see that at first I thought that it was the Drakh had come to get Londo to put the eyeball thing on him.
Yeah.
But then it was clearly to me Centauri hands that were grabbing him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw it was the Stribe looking for what I can hear people out there. It's not the Stribe or something different. Okay, fine, whatever they were.
Look like them. Yeah, they look like the Stribe.
They had that Roswell alien look to them. And their fingers were all long and spindly and stuff.
And those fingers got a lot of uncomfortable screen time.
Absolutely, they did. There's one shot, Jeff, where the camera's looking down at Londo. His hair's right here. And you have like those fingers just in his hair, like petting his hair.
Yeah.
Like, so what are you doing to his hair, man? Stop that. That's weird.
It's weird.
But here's my question, Jeff. We have seen this viewpoint a lot in Babylon 5 over 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Of somebody on a table looking up and here's people staring over top of them. And it has frequently been Roswell-esque aliens looking down, whether it was the Stribe or these guys or somebody else or the Virini. The Virini, one of them. It's been that, because I remember like it was Sheridan in the Vorlon ship that happened to him once, and I feel like they did it with Psychor at one point as well. All this sort of stuff. Here's my question, a legit question that I need someone to ask JMS for us, or I you know what? We'll soon be able to interact with him. Right. I might ask him on Twitter myself. Was he ever abducted by aliens?
Wow. He's
Because
working through some stuff.
Yeah, like this seems to be a thing for him.
It really is, because I mean, like I immediately went back to Ship of Tears when they showed like them operating on the blips that went away. It's the exact same scene, but you're right. Like with the Stribe, it was like little arms that were coming out of the ceiling, and then the Psychor thing with Bester, and then even back with Talia, and then the racing, not racing Mars, but the Mars First guy. Like this is a scene they pull up a lot. I think he might be therapying himself through his abduction on this show.
That's where the whole idea. Oh, dude, Jeff, maybe this is all happening out there. Like JMS has been abducted. He's seen it, and he's bringing it back, and he's turning it into a hit television show. The government really knows what's going on, but they're allowing the hit television show to exist for plausible deniability.
Well, then when I show
really
up, I'm
think
like,
that
these
JMS
aliens
is just a crazy guy.
I show up, I say, these aliens came and took me, and they're like, you're a Babylon 5 geek. Those are Virini. Just shut, go back to your hole, nerd. Just stop. They're like, no, they took me, and they showed me all this stuff. They're these dudes with big hair that are gonna, come on, nerd, stop. I like this conspiracy theory a lot better than the ones that have been coming out over the last couple of years.
I'm just really glad that we didn't get a show that has like X in the title.
Right?
Like Babylon 5 Extreme or something like that.
It was a 90s show. I mean, I'm sure it was pitched at some point.
Anyway, here's my last question on this whole piece. What did they put in Londo's mouth?
I
think
think
it was a bug, right?
I think it was
something.
the controller, the keeper. I think it has to gestate.
The little eyeball guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like to me.
Like
I was like, ah!
So like they did some stuff to like prep his body, and then they put the little thing over him and put that big old thing. And so I think, and I think too, like there was time, right? And I think that at the end, the Regent was kind of saying, you don't waste your free hours and things. So like it has to attach and grow and gestate. So he has like, I don't know, 14 hours or whatever until it takes off. But that was a hard scene to watch, especially when he kind of woke up and was like, what's like, I can't really move. What's going on? Oh God, that's gross.
And then G'Kar does his thing to get Londo out of the prison cell. That was gross. It was hilarious. Londo comes out. My eyes were burning.
It's not even the smell.
Yes.
My eyes. I wonder if like there's a marsupial, like, is that a thing that marsupials do? Or was they just like, hey, this will be funny to make G'Kar throw up?
Somebody's making this comment right here. So Jeff, last week you had a problem with G'Kar kind of being the Jokey McJokerson of stuff. And I think they continued that this week. I don't have a problem. Did you still have a problem with it this week?
I think it worked better in this one.
Okay.
I think the tone was different in this one, especially between him and Londo.
See, I think it was just a continuation of where we've been, and I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Well, I don't think it was ever out of character for G'Kar. Like we've seen this for him. It's just the intensity of last week's episode. It felt like a feeble attempt to like release some of that tension. It didn't work. But in this one, I think it's really clear that the Londo G'Kar relationship is about to dramatically change. And so I think they really had to like hit us with these relationship points.
Jeff, I got one more thing. And I hate to bring up old stuff, but after 5 seasons, I have finally come up with the definitive proof. And I'm going to agree with folks. I'm going to side with them out there. Folks, save your keyboard strokes because I'm with you. I got you. Babylon 5, 1,000%. I'm sorry, not Babylon 5. Star Trek, 1,000% ripped off Babylon 5.
It's a bold statement.
Yes. Because Sheridan gets to the White Star. They're doing their stuff. And it's go time. And Sheridan turns around and his go phrase is hit it. And here all these years later, Strange New Worlds, Captain Pike, his go phrase is hit it. Totally ripped off. Sue the pants off of Star Trek JMS. You will win. Absolutely. They're ripping off all your stuff, man.
Plain as day.
Babylon 5 had it 20 years earlier, man.
I'm only laughing because one, it's funny. That's funny. But second, had the exact same thought. Not that they ripped him off so much, but like you can watch my reaction, and I'm just literally just like, that's Pike's thing. Does Pike watch Babylon 5? Does Babylon 5 exist in Star Trek?
From now on, every time I watch Strange New Worlds and Pike says, I'm like, that's Sheridan's thing.
Can't take that.
Give it back.
Paramount.
Give it back. Jeff, well, I do think that
first.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, he's got something. Okay.
I got two things that are just some really awesome stylistic things that they did near the end of this episode. One was at the very end, Londo, right? He comes running out, looking. He's out on the thing looking. Incredible callback. There have been a couple callbacks. There was the one a couple episodes ago where he went out and all the Centauri cruisers are taking off, and that was a callback to the shadow ships going. Yep. This one, when he comes out and he's looking up and all the jump points are opening up, that was a great callback to when the Vorlons came, and we're gonna just really great imagery down to the destruction that was on at this time and stuff. It was beautiful. Other one, G'Kar is in the cell by himself and he's jotting away in his little journal, and there's this streak of light that's coming down across the wall. A lot of people, we hammered a lot of our Christian faith last week. I'll just touch on this one. There's a very famous painting of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane where he's praying to God. He's saying, Father, if you can pass this cup on to somebody else, please, I don't want to do this. But it's very similar where he's in this prayerful position, and there's this like ray of light coming down at an angle. Like that scene, I feel, was just lifted from that painting. It was really well done.
Jeff, if I may ask, and because I'm genuinely curious, and I want to talk to you folks out there for just a second. Jeff's right. We spent a lot of time last week discussing pieces of Christian faith and where Jeff and I both come from in that background. Jeff called back to something that for me was a whole lifetime ago that I haven't talked about in a long time last week. But over the course of 5 seasons, we've talked a lot about the Christian imagery and Christian things that are here. And a lot of that, it occurs to me, Jeff, may just be colored. We may be seeing it through that lens because that is our lens that we have to own, and we own that bias. Here's what I'd love to do. If there is anybody out there who is of a different faith, and I'm specifically speaking to people of faith, like if you are a Muslim, or even if the Jewish faith, I know we've talked about that a little bit, or I don't know, maybe Hindu, maybe any other faith out there. If you have seen examples of your faith in Babylon 5, I would love to know where that is, because I just sit back and assume that JMS, growing up in Western culture, he pulls a lot of Christian imagery specifically, and maybe he's actually pulling other imagery that I'm just not aware of. And so I'd love to know if you have found imagery that reflects your own faith, or maybe a faith you're familiar with. Write in and let us know. I'm genuinely curious to know if there's other imagery that I'm just missing because of my own ignorance.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great question.
Well, with that then, Jeff, we have reached the part of the show where it is time to boil it all down and see if this episode has any of those deep moral messages to it. Maybe it's holding up a mirror to society. Is it giving us hope that we could be better in the future? All that stuff that sci-fi in general is really good at doing. And we're also going to talk about how it has delivered it in a Babylon 5 way. Jeff, you're going to do that by rating this episode on a scale of 0 to 5 white stars to see how strong that message is and just how Babylon 5 it was delivered. So, Jeff, what do you got for us this week?
So this isn't necessarily the theme of the episode. I'll start with that, not necessarily, but this episode did a lot of work to build on a theme that I think is really emerging in this season and kind of in the series overall. I've been really critical even today on the Interstellar Alliance, and I'm going to continue to be. I don't think it's has executed the way it was meant to be, but it has turned out to be a great storytelling device to show us like the temptation, the draw of history and tradition.
Yep.
Sheridan and the Alliance as an idea, the idea of the Alliance, is trying to move beyond petty squabbling, wars from Delen's line last week, moving past wars over lines on a map, things like that. Like, let's all just come together. Let's focus on a common cause. Let's have our shared values. But history, tradition, and very importantly, generational and societal trauma, not to mention our norms and expectations around us, they're not going to let some people, arguably most people, get on board with those ideas. Those people see things like this as a loss, right? The Drazie general outright said this. We must have our revenge. He was fired up and passionate. Why? Why do you need your revenge? When has revenge ever solved anything?
Yeah.
When have you taken revenge and been like, okay, now I'm good. I feel better. Mission accomplished. I'm so glad I did this. This goes all the way back to Midnight on the Firing Line when the concept came up over Ragesh 3 and Delen just hit it, right? You do it, and then you do it, and then you do it, and then you do it. Everything escalates, and no one ever actually wins. To move forward, to actually progress, to move to the ideals that the Alliance professes, frankly, to move to the future that Star Trek has tried to show us is possible. Like, it's the thing we say as we open this up, right? That there's hope for a better future. For that to happen, we have to let go of this stupid little petty stuff. As long as we have people like the Drazie hanging around, looking for their revenge, not playing by the rules, not caring about the cause or the values, like just being in it for themselves, as long as that's happening, we're not going to grow, and there will continue to be war, famine, pestilence, and needless death. I'll quote the Brakiri guy when asked why they weren't working together. Like, this was amazing. Why aren't you guys working together to do this? And he says, well, we are in our own independent and sovereign ways. Wow. It's just short-sighted. It is juvenile. And it's why to this day right now we have wars being fought across the globe. It wasn't necessarily the message of this episode, but it was strongly represented. It's a thing that's come up. I think this is a core theme of Babylon 5 that was expressed beautifully in this episode. So I'm giving this one 4 white stars.
Fair enough. I literally, in my note here, I have the revenge thing.
Yeah.
Of exactly what you're talking about there. That whole piece. I love Delen's message though. If I could just also point this out, I'm not stumping for any more than what you just gave it. I think that's a very fair rating. But Sheridan's asking her to go do something, and you know, it's he wants it to wait till see there's no risk, and she's like, it is impossible to live lives with unnecessary risk. Like that's just part of life. We're going to put things at risk. You have to put it out there.
Right? You cross the street.
Yep.
Famous to eat.
Famous coach. I said, I'll always love what he said. No risk it, no biscuit. And it's good life piece to live by. And he went and won a Super Bowl with it with my favorite team.
Well, look at that.
There you go. I like it, Jeff. I like it.
Cool. Well, you get the fun part of this one. I am very anxious to see how you handle it because we're creating the definitive list, the rank of all the episodes of the 5th season of Babylon 5. Brent gets to do that. Our current, for this episode, he gets to do that. For our current top 5, we have in the top spot, The Very Long Night of Londo Mollari, a new number 2, and All My Dreams Torn Asunder. Number 3 is No Compromises, Learning Curve in the 4th spot, and rounding it out, we've got The Ragged Edge. So, Brent, I am eager, just as our listeners and viewers are, where are you putting Movements of Fire and Shadow?
Jeff, remind me, I said No Compromises is my favorite season opener of the series. I've said that, and I'm going to stand by that. I'm not reneging on that whatsoever. However, really the question to me comes is this better than No Compromises? I'm going to say yes, it is. Is it better than Torn Asunder? All My Dreams Torn Asunder. And here's the thing. I think All My Dreams Torn Asunder had a much stronger core of its message. when we came all the way down to Delenn, looking at that candle and just had this amazing exposition at the end, and was phenomenal. My phrase from last week was, "This is a phenomenal episode of TV." My phrase from this week is, "This is good TV."
Oh.
So I'm going to leave All My Dreams Torn Asunder at number 2, but this is our new number 3, Jeff, on the ranking. That being said, I very much see last week and this week as us. It's a part 1, part 2 type situation. Is very much where I see these. So I just think last week was a little bit stronger. Both really, really good.
Love it. It's a good spot. And that's it for Movements of Fire and Shadow. Next week, we're watching what might be part 3 in this trilogy. The Fall of Centauri Prime.
It better be part 3 where this one ended.
Right? Be really upset if
or
it's
maybe
like,
part 4, to be honest with you, Jeff. But
yeah. Wouldn't it be upsetting though? This one was just like, hey, so this thing just happened. All these ships started blasting, but let's go check in with President Lutsenko and Earth.
If it opens on the backside of the battle, like, I want to see the battle. Come on, guys. Like, it should open with previously on Babylon 5 is how it needs to open.
Right. And then out of that into pew, pew, pew. Just, come out firing. It's going to be called, again, The Fall of Centauri Prime. The game we love to play and that people love to play along with us is our prediction game. We only know the title. We don't know anything else about this episode, and we guess what that episode is going to be about. So, Brent, what do you think is going to happen in The Fall of Centauri Prime?
Well, Centauri Prime is being attacked. I think that's a given. I think this is action. I think this is pew, pew, pew. I think that the Drazie and the Brikiri and the Narn are going to land on Centauri Prime to capture and take it. It's, again, part of the fall of Centauri Prime. And they're basically going to try to take over the whole planet. But here's where I think it's going to turn, is they are going to be fighting amongst themselves over who actually gets to control Centauri Prime, each one thinking they have a claim. The Narn, obviously, for what they've been going through. The Drazie, because they seem to think that they're being offended at every step and turn. And the Brikiri, because they seem to play being keeping up with the Joneses. They can't let the Drazie be better than them. So they want control. So I think that's what we're going to wind up with, is Centauri Prime is fallen, and they're really no longer a player on the board. It's the Narn, the Brikiri, and the Drazie, aka they represent the rest of the alliance at this point, right? The broken alliance. And here's the deal. And this is where I love this. I love this, Jeff. Here we go. Sheridan is now knows that the Centauri government was not at fault for these shipping lane attacks, right? He now knows this. Like, this is an unjust thing. He's going to have to come to the rescue of Centauri Prime in order to save the alliance. Like, he's got to flip sides here, because he the guy who so unwisely pronounced judgment based on really bad quote unquote proof now has to come clean up his mess, because honestly, Sheridan's responsible for this in many ways.
I agree. Yeah.
That's my thought. What about you, Jeff?
The fall of Centauri Prime, right? Like, I mean, I think we're close. What I think is going to happen, though, we're going to open up a bunch of blasting really great space battle stuff.
Yep.
Sheridan's going to show up and do an ultimatum to stop the assault that's going on. While that's happening, Londo is going to be named Emperor, and he's going to be the one that turns. I think he's going to order a full assault. Don't even worry about defending bases. Let's just full court press. We're attacking the alliance. Londo's going to go, because I think is that
Londo doing it, or is that the keeper doing it?
That's the keeper. The controller is going to come out. He's going to come up as Emperor, and then he's just going to start full on Napoleon.
Okay, here's a question, and I don't know that I was ever clear on this when we saw the keeper from War Without End. Is the keeper controlling Londo, like controlling his body like a symbiote, and like Londo's like buried, his conscious is buried deep within, and it's only when he gets him drunk that Londo can reemerge? Is that the
I think so.
Is that what it is?
I think it's
Okay.
that, or it's like a punishment device, maybe, or something. Like he gets his orders, and maybe the orders come from the little controller guy, and then if he tries to not follow them, and because it's in his neural system or whatever, he doesn't even start to do the wrong thing. Like he has the thought of doing the wrong thing, and blasts him or something. So he's got to get drunk to numb it. But I think it is basically Londo in the back seat watching everything happen.
Kind of like a Gould, something of the host survives.
Yeah, there's still a piece there. Well, I'm excited. We're going to find out what happens here next week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Leave us a rating and a review, comment below, all that good stuff. But most importantly, please share this podcast with somebody who loves Babylon 5 or is about to fall in love with this incredible series. So until next time.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, what's up?
So I need to ask you to do something that, frankly, I really don't want to ask you to do.
Dude, if this is about those little things, I told you, man, I am never going to wear those. Like, I appreciate the gift. It's very thoughtful and generous of you, but from my perspective, it just kind of looks silly.
Yeah, Jeff, I wasn't the one who gave you those. You bought those yourself, pal.
Dude, shut up. Get the hell out of here.
Initiating getting the hell out of here maneuver.
We're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
Did you really? Like, Brent's over here making notes in the notes.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you, hey, Club 65, what's going on? Jeff, I got 3 really good Stargate references in this episode.
I got the gold at the end. Like I'm following a bit.
Yeah. Okay. There's others you missed. Like you're still a bit away from some of them that you don't know. But for those of you who came through and you're like, no spoilers, guys. No spoilers for Jeff. He's trying to stay spoiler free. Anyway,
keep it fresh. Keep it new.
Yeah. You should do that. So
hey, thanks to you, Club 65. Last week was a rough week. Brent said it out. I was flying solo, and my daughter's great. I cannot express the deep love that I have for her. But we're in here talking about Babylon 5 for a while. She's getting lonely, wanted to hang out, and I will tell you. You probably watched last week. There are some obvious cuts. I did do some editing because there was some stuff. I'm not going to put. I love my daughter. I'm not going to put her on this show. So
absolutely appropriate. Absolutely appropriate. But Jeff, as much as I hate to cut Club 65 short, this week it's my turn.
Oh,
I've got to scoot. Yeah.
Yep.
I've got to scoot. So, thank you guys so much. Listen, we'll have a good one next week. I promise. A really good one. But until then, Fall of Centauri Prime on deck. Let's go, Jeff.
Do it. Let's do it.